Okay, we're back. I'm Kathy McCommon.
I'm Anna Delps.
And I'm Deborah Shalette Wilson.
And we're the School of Soul. Okay, so what we're doing now is we are, giving our interpretation of the skit that we did for you, where we had the mineral stage, the vegetable stage, and then this child that was being programmed or conditioned to become just like her parents.
And less human.
Yeah, less human, less emotional. And so let's talk a little bit about what was going on in that skit and how it was affecting the child. Now, if you'll notice, the rock stayed behind the newspaper the whole time. But the vegetable knew what the rock wanted, knew how to take care of the rock, make sure the rock was happy because the vegetable was the puppet. So as I went through my communication with the child, it was very one way. I'm communicating and she needs to be compliant. She was not allowed to complain.
I did anyway.
She had to keep her emotions to herself. Her emotions, any emotions that she exhibited were downplayed, devalued, dehumanized, so that she began to feel that her emotions, I wanted to make sure that she understood that her emotions were wrong, that she was not feeling the way I thought she should feel. So her emotions need to be ignored.
And I see this so much in society now. People judge their emotions, the negative emotions, the anger, the sadness, the guilt or shame as wrong, negative, bad. And when they're part of our emotional repertoire, a healthy person has the whole range and not just the good stuff.
Well, when I work with children, they get that very, very early, because I would ask them, do you think anger is wrong? And they'd always say yes.
Oh, wow.
I mean, very young. Or is it okay to be sad? And it's like, no. So it's not, it's only, is it okay to be glad? Is it okay to be happy? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, if you'll know, all the way through the skit, the conversation that the vegetable was having was just be happy. Just be happy.
No matter what's going on.
No matter what's going on.
How badly you're treated.
Just be happy. And this is a very common conversation for a vegetable to have. I just want you to be happy. So just be happy. So all you got to do is just be happy.
But you're standing on my foot and the circulation is going out of it.
It's all in your perception. If you perceive that I'm doing that and that there's pain there, it's just perception. Ignore it. And so if you'll notice, continually, I was having her ignore her emotions and her feelings.
And this is dehumanizing, right? Because the more human we are, the more we embrace all we are, all the physical sensations, all the emotions we have. And the more we get rid of, the more we become less human, less evolved.
And if you'll notice, I told her to keep her cat under control, but I didn't even know if the cat was a girl or a boy, and it didn't matter to me. That was... I didn't care. Just keep your cat under control, like I say. So, and if a child has a pet, wouldn't you think that the parent would interact with that pet and recognize that the pet was of value to the child? But for a vegetable, it's all about the rules, and just follow the rules. If you also... Did you notice the despair that she had? And she went through actual trauma responses. She was fight, she was kind of insolent, rebelling a little bit with her words and things like that, which would have been a form of fighting for a child. Then eventually she went into the running stage. She ran out of the room. And of course, the vegetable did not honor that need to get away from me. Why would you want to get away from me? I have your best interest. And then, of course, in the end, she froze. So what I was doing is I was conditioning her to ignore her emotions so that she could grow up to be like her parents, non-emotional.
Yeah. And so that happens, well, that's been happening since human beings have been around, but we haven't really realized how, I don't think parents realize that they are socially, emotionally, mentally, and physically determining things for their child that may or may not go against what the child's needs really are, but it doesn't matter, And I guess that's where you get a belief as I don't matter, nothing matters,
I'm not important.
Yeah. And well, and another thing is, trying to connect to the father, and he's just like not even there. And then trying to connect to the mother who ignores anything that the child felt. There's like, I'm not good enough either, because no matter what I do, I can't connect to these people. I can't connect to them, and eventually I can't connect to me, because the pain of not being able to connect, because that's so wired into us, to be emotionally connected, physically connected to the people that are raising us. You just go into that collapsing freeze place and just disconnect from yourself, because no matter what you've tried, it's like no matter what I tried, I couldn't get them to see me or hear me or allow me to have my own feelings. So eventually that despair, you just go into despair and then split off from yourself.
And eventually even get rid of the despair, so you don't have those negative feelings anymore, and become less human. So you're not even feeling, and again, getting more rocky, right?
Right. And then, but have
developed.
happy eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. Have happy eyes.
Basically what I was doing and what the father was doing, we were actually pushing her into that animal stage.
From the child.
From a child.
Deeply feeling emotional.
We were actually
herself physically.
Pushing her into that animal stage, which is performance-based behavior, right? And so that way we were demanding performance-based behavior.
And, if we played this out, eventually the child would probably start just going through the motions just to survive, or running away.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, how would the child be able to distinguish between appropriate and inappropriate behavior if her inner voice or her knowing or her emotions are discounted, shoved into a dark place not to be looked at? This child is going to grow up and not be able to distinguish healthy emotions and unhealthy emotions, and healthy behavior and unhealthy behavior.
And may even lose track of her emotions entirely, where she answers questions of emotions. I'm okay.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah. So if you'll notice how I instructed her that if anybody asked her how she said, I'm supposed to say I'm fine. No, you say I'm good. So not only did I need her to begin to develop her persona, because I was actually helping her to develop a persona. And so, but I wanted it developed a certain way. I didn't want it, I'm fine, I'm good.
See, I'm not even good enough saying I'm fine.
Yeah. So I wanted her to understand that I was the creator of her persona and what the world would see.
Molding that character into who you were molded into being.
Just passing it on.
Generational trauma. Because anyone watching that skit, I would come away with a clear understanding that this child was being traumatized by her parents. She was like going up against a brick wall continually. She wasn't heard. She wasn't seen. She wasn't felt.
All the basic things that as human beings, we're wired and created to need in order to be able to develop in a healthy way and be able to connect to our soul and live more soulfully. So these are the things that take us away from that connection with our soul. And it's important for us to heal that so that we can.
And it's easy to see how our society, so many of our societal problems come from these dynamics as far as addiction, trying to self-medicate that pain, that
Mhm.
just agony of trying so hard to relate and there's not being received,
Mhm.
or the violence just breaking out, the
Mhm.
frustration gets so high, just suddenly losing it,
Mhm.
harming someone.
Yeah. See, that could have been an option for this child. She could go that way too,
Mhm.
to where she just is even getting more physical
Mhm.
in her reactivity to what she's being dealt with.
Mhm.
Or the people that just give up and give me the protocol, I'll follow it, no
Mhm.
matter what, no matter who it harms, I'll follow the protocol.
Yeah, thoughtlessly.
Mhm.
We see it every day.
Mhm.
Every day.
And it doesn't have to stay that way.
It begins with you.
Mhm.
Look at yourself. If you see these traits in yourself and you know you've had trauma, or maybe you don't realize, maybe it's been buried and you don't even realize that there's been trauma there, but it seems to be because it's manifesting. Reach out to us or reach out to someone
Mhm.
to help you work through that. But don't make yourself wrong or bad or any of that. It's not. It's just a condition of society that we were all raised in.
And it needs healing
It needs to be
because
healed.
trauma doesn't have to be a life sentence.
Mhm.
And there is such a thing as post-traumatic growth.
Amen.
Very good. I like that. There is such a thing as post-traumatic growth.
Mhm.
I like that, Deborah.
Mhm.
Anything else from anyone else?
No, I think that pretty covers it for now.
Okay, so
I'm sure we'll think of something later.
that was a lot of fun. Wasn't that fun?
And just be careful not to label and punish people's evolving humanity.
Yeah,
It needs your
Oh.
support.
that's a
Absolutely.
good point.
That's very good. Thank you, Ann.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's all for this session of the School of Soul, and hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye-bye.